The new Guild Wars 2 trailer for the new expansion didn't give us that much information about the new elite specs and what they are. But there is one little thing that they said in the latest post that actually reveals a lot about what the elite specs may be and especially where they may be coming from. So in this video we're gonna go through it and what it actually may mean. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi, like everyone here, to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning. And let's get into it. The latest post about the expansion talks about new elite specializations, and it's just the same thing as always. But look at this, guys. Elite specializations are back. Influences from members of the Tyrian Alliance brings new ways to play each of our 9 professions. Well, that's a bit weird. Usually, when there is a new expansion with elite specs, we get the elite specs coming from that zone. For Kantha, we got EOD specs that make sense with Kantha. For Path of Fire, we got Spellbreaker, Mirage, Firebrand, all these things that made sense with Kantha. With HOT, the same thing. But this time, we're not getting that. We're getting from the Tyrian Alliance. If you guys don't know about the Tyrian Alliance, it's the one that we got in Janther Wilds. You know, the typical intro for Janther Wilds and the ending where we talk about the situation of Tyria with every one of the representatives of each zone and race. And we got a lot of people here. We have the Sylvari, we have the Char, we have the Pirates from Lion's Arch, the Norn, the Azura, the Coden, even the Hylex and the Skrits as well. So whenever they say that these elite specs are coming from the Tyrian Alliance, this means that a few of these representatives will give us the specs, representing whatever their race or culture they have. This red post right here actually goes through them very well. We talked about this one in particular before. I just didn't really make the connection other than the one we were talking about in that video. But look at this. Troubadour, human culture. They have the nobility, the automated orchestra. It seems in line. And I completely agree. It makes a lot of sense for a Mesmer Troubadour to be from human culture. If you go to the Venus Reach, you're going to see a lot of, musical culture there and a lot of art. It makes sense. Antiquary, Lion's Arch Paragon with added bonus of Skrit Shiny Searcher. I do think it could be Lion's Arch. I personally go more. I just like the idea of it being just the Skrits, especially from Drytop, like the Queen Chikrit V being the representative that tells us about this new elite spec. I don't know. I think it's so funny that we copy the Skrit to be a thief. I just really like the idea more than the Lion's Arch one, to be honest. Paragon, of course, Alona and the Sun Spear, as always. It's something we've known from Guild Wars 1. Ritualist Kantha, same thing. We can even see ritualists in Echobold Forest a lot of the time, especially in the Gang War event. And now we start getting into some weird things that we don't know about. Evoker, obviously being this one with the little fox. And it's kind of hard to tell who would actually go for this. You could say Kanthan because obviously it looks very similar to the Guardian Fox that we have in End of Dragons, but it doesn't really look like them that much. And also we already have a Kanthan spec with Ritualist, so 2 for 1, 2 specs for the same region in one expansion that is trying to get one from everything. Seems so weird. But then I watched this video from Servarius K where he talks about the mythology from the new Guild Wars 2 class for Elementalist, and it's super interesting video. I heavily recommend you to go check it out as it actually mentions a lot of possibilities of not only this spec being about a firefox but also maybe some other animals from Nordic mythology. But the one thing that I really liked about this video is that he talks about these tattoos. And not only do these tattoos appear in Nordic mythology, just like you can see right here, you can see all of this type of symbolism all around anything coming from the Norn, especially when you go around Hallbreak right here, the main city. So yeah, I think it's very, very easy to tell that this indeed is not gonna be a Kanthan spec. It's gonna be instead a Norn spec of some sorts. They're gonna talk about the spirit animals. They talk about the crows and the wolf and the spirit animals that enhance their powers and they become bears and fight as a bear and whatever. I think that's what this is going to be about. Now, does this mean that we're going to get other animals? I would heavily recommend you to go check the other video from the other creator, and I'll link in the description down below so you can check it out, talking about the other animals it could be or why it couldn't be or whatever. Personally, I don't think so. I think it's going to be just this. It's going to be this little guy transforming itself into Firefox, Airfox, and so on and so on. But I do think it's definitely going to be Norn related. But what else do we have? So we have Tradur, Antiquary, Evoker done, Paragon done, Ritualist done. Engineer, I think it's probably very realistic to consider it Azura. It has a symbol that is very like Azuran-like, I guess, in terms of technology. It just makes sense for it to be Azuran, right? But we still have 3 left. Guardian, I think it makes a lot of sense to make it for Char. Whenever I see this guy, it just, the type of energy it has, yeah, it looks like something a Guardian would have, but also it looks so much like the ghosts of Ascalon. So this being some sort of Char Guardian makes a lot of sense. Well, at least that it comes from there. Gathering the spirits of the dead and using them for you. Who knows, maybe it's even a minion spec. And, you know, look, everybody's talking about why is it a shield. Maybe it's a shield because of the way that humans were defending themselves against the Char. It kind of makes a lot of sense. They were fighting against them for so long, and, you know, the fact that they've been traumatized for so much time, just reliving the wars over and over again, it makes sense for them to have a shield, right? To protect themselves from each other and use that symbol for the spec. Especially when, well, there's literally claws on the shield. Man, I didn't even realize that. This is obvious. This is so much an Ascalon. It's an Ascalon spec. It's 100% what it is. It's a human Ascalon Guardian. Oh, defending against a Char. It just makes... Look, it just fits so well, guys. It just... I love it. I love it. And we have 2 left, Ranger and Revenant. Now, this is gonna be hard for me. The person here talks about Ranger being a Tengu because it makes sense with the Ranger spec right here. You can see them sending seagulls, and I guess, you know, I mean, well, pigeons maybe, but, you know, the Tengu are birds, so it kind of fits. So maybe, yeah, I could see it. And we talked about this before in my other video about Tengu, but there seems to be some sort of clues that indeed we're gonna get Tengu this time in some sort of way, whether that's an elite spec or something else. But I think this makes more sense on this spec, particularly because of the poem talking about revolutionizing some sort of society. So it's like, oh, it talks a little bit about going against the grain and breaking the tides. I don't know, it just gives me that vibe of not only is it edgy, but it could definitely be a Tengu that is trying to break apart the society that is in to open themselves up to other cultures. It could also be about the assassination that happened in Guild Wars 1 on the Tengu thing. I didn't play Guild Wars 1, so I don't know exactly the details, but it could be about that too. It could also be something else. Maybe it's representing Sylvari. Maybe this is like a Sylvari mask. Maybe this is a Malik. You know, for example, a Nightmare mask looks a little bit like it maybe, so I could maybe see it. I'm not sure, but I do think it's gonna be one of the two. It's gonna be or Sylvari or is gonna be Tengu, and I think it's interchangeable between that and the Ranger. The Ranger could be Sylvari or it could be Tengu, and this one could be Tengu or Sylvari. But I do think it's the thing that really fits correctly. I'm not sure if we're gonna really get a spec that about the Kodan or about the Skrit. Sorry, the Skrit, yeah, we are. The Hylek, I mean. I doubt it's gonna be about the Kodan in the Shiver Peaks. I think these possibilities are the ones that make the most amount of sense. But let me know what you guys think, because I really like this series. I think these are gonna be the ones that we're getting, and with all the information we've gotten, I know we don't have to wait that much time. We're gonna just have to wait until next week for the reveals. But I think this makes sense, guys. I think this makes sense. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Like everyone, every beautiful person here, thank you so much for your support. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning, although not tomorrow because I have a soup festival in my city, which is awesome. So see you around. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.